It's really amazing to collect these little tiny tape recorders, but I ran into a problem recently with the spools on these are impossible to find. If you don't find one that already has its reels and spools, you're in big trouble. And in this case, what happened was that when I was pulling one of these off, and they're very difficult to put on and off, I broke it. Now I can glue it back together, but I got to thinking, man, wouldn't it be great if I could just 3D print another reel? You say 3D print a reel, well, isn't that kind of complicated? You got all this complex stuff, and you know, you've got these bigger reels here. They got the openings, they've got the spindle holes, they've got the slot for the tape, and then got the even bigger ones where they're large and they got specific diameters inside and outside. And so I asked my son if he could write some code that would allow me to print virtually any size reel, from these little teensy reels up to like a 5 or 7 inch reel, using a program that would allow me to change all of those parameters, the whole openings, 3 or 4 openings, or no openings. Like these don't have any openings, they've got little indentations, but you can see there are no openings. And this one has a solid interior hole that works with the tape recorder here, you can see. Whereas these other reels, this size reel, needs this kind of spindle, and like on the Iowa, it needs that kind of spindle, and it needs the catch hole there. They've got 3 of them, and the tapes are all pretty much the same width. But anyway, that was a dilemma. So let me take you over to the computer and show you what he came up with. Okay, so here's what we came up with. This is a 62 millimeter diameter reel, like the one I just had in my hand a moment ago. This is a program called OpenSCAD, and it's a script language that allows you to do all kinds of 3D CAD work. So we use this quite a bit for various things that I've printed and shown you on my channel. But this is a reel that these different parameters here, 62 millimeter diameter, as you can see here, and then the core diameter is 25 millimeters. So you get the idea. It will allow you to reproduce the 2 halves of the tape reel, and all of these parameters here change the opening sizes, changes all of this stuff in here. Really every parameter about the reel itself can be changed, and then you create an STL file that you print on the 3D printer. And when this printer starts printing here in just a moment, I'll let you see the process as it starts to print, and then we'll assemble it. It just actually snaps together, a little drop of glue to hold it together, and then I'll show you the finished product of several different sizes that I've printed. Here's what we ended up with. This is the original, and I just measured those and put those parameters in that parametric program, and put this on the 3D printer, and this is what I ended up with. Turned out beautiful. Very pleased with it. Works beautifully on the Craig tape deck, as you can see here. Works great. Snaps in there nicely, and perfect. Just absolutely perfect. This little tiny jewel, the one that was broken, I will run this tape onto this spindle. You see the difference in the spindle there, but they are identical. in dimensions. Even the thickness of the material here can be adjusted. So this turned out beautiful, and it fits perfectly on this tape deck. So the good thing about these particular 3D printed ones is that these original tapes have a rubber bushing in there, and that rubber bushing dries up and gets out around, and so the tapes wiggle like this, and because it's a rim drive, that causes the tape to move back and forth like this, and it gives you wow and flutter, which you do not want. Whereas 3D printed reels slide right down on perfectly on the shaft, and I don't have it pushed all the way down, but let's see if we can get it to rewind. Yeah. And it doesn't wobble at all. It's just perfectly centered on the spindle and drives perfectly. So tremendous help. And then on the mini, or the mini, depending on how you pronounce it on these tape recorders, here's a 3D printed reel, larger reel. As you can see the comparison in the size. And I printed a larger reel here, and
microphone and tape recorder using the new 3D printed take-up reels.
So it's just a huge bonus for me to be able to have plenty more take-up reels. You can buy the larger reels on eBay. They're not a problem to find at all. But these, as I said, virtually impossible to find. And then the next size for like the Iowa or the Craig, as we saw just a moment ago, these are very difficult to find, this particular size. There are some of them are available on eBay, but so I just had to share the opportunity I have now to be able to print these. This is a Concord tape deck. I've done a video on this sound camera, and this has the little reels this size, so I'll print some to fit that. You can see the larger reels fit on these larger tape decks. So let's go over to the 3D printer now and see what it looks like so far on the. That's how it looks in the slicer right before printing. It's what it might look like on the printer. Let me show you the individual layers being printed. So we'll take a look at the printer in a minute when it gets a little further along. Here we go. You can see, I'll give you a real good close-up here, how it printed very well. Very impressed with the quality, and you can see here where the two pieces fit together. And this is the original reel, and this is the 3D printed reel. So anyway, yeah, very encouraged by that. If you're interested or need a reel, or would be interested in the code, the OpenSCAD code, let me know. We'll work something out. But clearly, this is working out great. Very happy with the end result. Here's a finished print, and it prints like this. You saw on the printer, and then these two halves just snap together here, just like that. Get them lined up so that they're flat, of course. I tried using some CA to glue it, and it doesn't hold too well. It's not polystyrene, so model glue won't work. I've tried a little bit of 6,000. That kind of sort of holds. It's not all that great either. So I'm still experimenting with the glue that'll hold this PLA plastic real well and bond real well. But there we go. There's the reel with 4 openings, and then of course you saw the one that I did with the blue with 3 openings. So whatever openings you want, 5, 6, or whatever, I guess you could do. Typically you see 3 or 4 openings like these reels here, but anyway, thought you'd find this an interesting project. Okay, here's a small reel, so you can get it off of the there we go. Just snaps in place there, and get the rims lined up and everything. But there you go. Clean it up a little bit, and it compares beautifully to the original, just like that. Let's see how it fits on the tape recorder. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. And put it on a rewind spool, nice and snug. Spins beautifully. So there you have it. Now I've got an extra wheel to wind this tape on and get rid of this broken one, and we should be all set.